Bharat, I like to play devil's advocate. I personally feel the newspaper is not the right medium to communicate these ideas of food safety. Because, let's face it, everybody knows about the 2 children who died because of food poisoning. But about what you said about the exercise and the food loss, the weight loss column that comes every week. I mean, who remembers the exercise or recommendation 2 weeks ago? Unless you actually cut it and kept it, which I do. But people read the newspaper for sensations. Sensational sales, news sales. But if you actually try to focus and try to communicate ideas about food safety through the newspapers, I am a bit, I'm not in agreement with that. Probably a Friday magazine where you publish excellent articles about recipes. Probably alongside that, because it's in the food section, it's the mood. You cannot take a newspaper and say, listen, I'm going to read about food safety. It has to be done in leisure. That those ideas have to sink in if you want to have a long-term impact. Otherwise, you're just going to read it, and yes, you feel nice about it, and then you forget about it.
If I may just try to answer that a little bit, because I feel that anything like this, which is about education, is something which you slowly dig into the mind of a person, and it might just create a minor dent, even if it's weight loss, a minor dent, people may not remember, but slowly the swell builds up, and slowly it just does educate you at the end. And if you see what kind of diabetes awareness did we have in UAE 10 years ago, and the kind of public support we have now, and the kind of campaigns that have been happening now. So it's the same thing. I think it's like, dimming the message slowly but surely. Of course, Friday magazine can do a better job, but I think the newspaper also has a very big role to play here. Even if it's a small little thing which you may cut and keep, or you may just read and throw away, but it just does make an impact on your mind.
But what I'm trying to say is the newspaper is going to be limited in its comments and criticism, because you have advertisers who take in your ads for this. And let's face it, that brings in revenue for the company. And you're not going to say something critical, too much critical about people who's going to, that's reality. I know how newspapers work. You're not going to say something critical who puts probably 4 pages of ads per week in your newspaper.
Same applies to Friday magazine.
No, Friday, what I'm trying to say is you can be very generic, you can be general, because that magazine, you're not actually talking about X supermarket had fish which went bad. You can't actually say that. Or don't go to the supermarket and buy bread because they sell safe bread. You just can't make those statements, and that's what newspapers are for. To make those statements. You can't do that. Food safety awareness is about, listen, these guys are selling safe food. And once you say that, that supermarket is never going to keep safe food. But nobody will have the guts to say that.
What I meant was news-based features, which are on a daily basis, because newspaper had that power on a daily basis. Whereas a magazine would probably put one feature on food safety and then would not put it for maybe 2 months, because we have also our advertisers to answer to. So we can't use the same topic or the same theme. So in a magazine, in a newspaper, you can have a concerted campaign which runs for the whole year, like for instance the weight thing, which I just gave an example of. And it can be on a daily basis or on a maybe once in 2 days basis or whatever. And it makes an impact as a feature, not like a hardcore news I'm talking about.
See, now there is a basic difference between your weight loss issue and the food safety issue. We talked about your breast awareness campaign, which is an excellent campaign because it's something which has affected everybody. Everybody or somebody has been affected by cancer, or somebody relative or a friend. So that's a universal thing which everybody knows, yes. Weight loss, everybody suffers from obesity. But food safety, you feel, let's go to a supermarket which is brighter, better. It's not something which is close to people's heart, and because we are from the industry, we know what's going on. But the average person, it's going to be a tough task. I don't have the answers. What I'm saying is, it's a very difficult campaign to run on a concerted basis unless you actually keep on telling people this is good and this is bad. I don't have the answer, sorry, but I feel that this is a very complicated situation to be handled by a newspaper.
Now you want to react to that? just adding to the previous comments that it has to be a joint effort. No one newspaper can do as much unless it is also done maybe on the radio or on billboards on the road or in schools and as well as in supermarkets. So in that way you're kind of reaching as many people as you can. So if it's a joint effort, yes, then it can make a difference.
And just to add a few words to that, some observations you made. One, you spoke that newspapers tend to keep away from stories when they feel that it's going to affect their advertising revenue. No, that's not necessarily true. I mean,
I was speaking in general.
No, that's fine. I mean, I respect your comment because newspapers do exercise the privilege of being a voice of society, and in different ways. I think it was 2 weeks ago when there was a report in Gulf News. I think it even made the front page about a restaurant in Abu Dhabi which was closed down on food safety concerns. I can't take the name, but it did make the front page, and people were aware of it. That particular restaurant, I do believe, is a potential advertiser, even if it's not at this point in time. So we do have that responsibility as journalists. And also to add one more point, there is a theory in mass communications. It's called accumulation theory, and it's basically, in layman's terms, it's drip feeding. You don't, you build an opinion about a particular issue over a period of time. At times it could be 2 months, sometimes 2 years, a decade even, but it's a slow, gradual process, and you institutionalize a particular issue and even give it its own identity. I'm not trying to promote climate control release here, but the fact that what you see here, I care about food safety. The very fact that whenever we have this particular graphic, this element as part of our magazine pages, now that's immediately going to be a recall value, and you're going to say, aha, there's one more story on food safety, and you probably will read it. It's a connection to what you read a month earlier or 2 months earlier. So there is a link, and there are various ways and means of building on an issue. And but I do agree, there's an opportunity for the media to get together, the print, the broadcast media, and social media, to promote this, and I think we'll work on it. As journalists, we are a very small representation of journalists here, but we make a beginning today, and we do something about it. I think it's time to close this particular panel discussion, and I'd like to thank Nawaz Sharif of Vlog Middle East magazine, and Suchitra Chaudhary of Gulf News of Friday magazine, and I think they deserve a round of applause. I'm going to call my colleague Stephanie McGuinness to have a few words on the food safety campaign, and after that, Mr. Abuza is going to be continuing the sessions, and these 2 sessions are very interesting. He's going to be addressing refrigerated transportation. And, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Surendra. What I wanted to actually address to all of you was, first of all, thank you all for being here. It means a lot to me and to my team here at CPI Industry. We have, in a very short period of time, been trying to build up this campaign that involved all of you. This whole concept of food safety means a lot to all of us, to Fred, to Surendra, to Deep, to myself, and obviously to all of you because you all became present. One thing I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors, because from the moment that we contacted them, they were very enthusiastic about being part of this campaign. And I feel a lot of gratitude towards them because they actually cared about us being able to raise this awareness, which isn't easy. It's not easy to gather so many people from this food chain, from from the very type of people that transport our food, to be able to get everyone together and to actually talk about these issues because we all relate to it in a different way commercially, but at the end of the day, we are all end consumers, and this affects us and our families and so forth. So I want to thank you all very much for being here. I do want to thank all of our sponsors, that includes Danforth, Emerson, Transicode Carrier, and of course ITT Innovations as well. So thank you very much for supporting us, and thank you all of you guys for helping us start something really exciting for the rest of the food chains to come.
Okay, I hope you still have some energy, same I hope for myself, to listen to the last part of our summit. We will be talking about the food transport, and I would like, without going to the presentation itself, just to give you the picture, then we can go through anything required from that side. The transport can be divided into three things. We have air transport, we have land transport, and we have marine transport. This is when we transport the food. The other thing is, we would like on every one of them, whether it is air, land, or marine, we'd like to tackle a few subjects like the product which we are going to transport. What are the challenges that are going to face us, and how we can overcome those in regards to the product itself, in order for it to reach the end point as fresh and tender as it was at the point of embarkation, or when you call it embarkation, the place of travel, the start. The second thing is, after the product, then we need to talk about the equipment by which we are going to transport our material. We have to have some kind of international standards in order for that particular piece of machinery or a container, when it leaves one country to another, or a truck, it will be easily moved from one place to another and handled in every country the same way it was in the other country. Otherwise we will have a mess. So there must be a standardization. The third thing is the equipment which is going to be transporting the food, it will go through different environments. What are the challenges which will face us during every one of those, whether it is land, air, or marine, during the trip, and what we can do for it. So mainly these three subjects. The last thing is again the management of the whole thing, the government. So if we talk about air transport at the beginning, number one, for the products, it is much better that you pre-cool the product before you ship it to the airport, to make sure that at least in case any unexpected circumstances happen, that your product still can survive for some time before it starts deteriorating. So you give it some proper cooling, or what we said at the yesterday, pre-cooling, saturated, so it doesn't lose any weight, and at the same time drop its temperature, so it has some time before it starts deteriorating or losing quality in case you face a problem with your refrigeration equipment. That is in regards to the product at the very beginning. We take air transport, which means airplanes. Now, the airplane, when it travels, it goes through three different environments. Two of them are almost similar, but I would like to separate them. And the one in the middle. You have the takeoff, you have the cruising, and you have the landing. It could be taking off from a country like, let us say it's coming from the USA to Saudi Arabia. Oh, sorry, to Dubai. I am still in Saudi Arabia anyway. So if the plane is leaving New York to Dubai, then, and we will assume that we are either in the winter time or summertime in America, it's still the weather is quite good. So at the time of takeoff, the surrounding temperature around the product is high, so it needs cooling. Therefore, we need to be prepared and put it in the airplane chilled. If we can have some kind of, we don't want to talk now about refrigeration equipment, we talk about refrigeration. So we would put either dry ice, and I think all of you know dry ice. Dry ice is solid CO2 at minus 20 degrees centigrade because it doesn't pass into liquid. The CO2 it goes from gas to solid at minus 20, and therefore it does not spoil the glaze when it is melted. It changes from solid into gas. So that we call it CO2. Or we put some kind of ice, standard ice. We also would put some brines, which for things if we need it close to zero. These are around the products which we are transporting. So this is to kill any possible problem at the time of takeoff. Okay, so that we are adding refrigeration or cooling. When we are cooling at 12 kilometers or 11 kilometers in the sky, we have a minus 40, minus 50 degrees centigrade. Then what do we need to do with our vegetables and fruits? We shouldn't freeze. Or if we have a large stock. And that cabinet is not like the passenger's cabinet. You could freeze your products, or you need heating, or you need lower insulation. This is the other way around. This is the second challenge which faces the product that it is being transported by airplane. Now then when it starts landing in Dubai, and it is in the summertime, 50 degrees centigrade, what happens with your product? This is the challenge which this subject is going to tackle. And therefore we need to be prepared for 3 different possible atmospheres surrounding the place. And what do? Do we need heating? We need cooling? How we preserve the thing? That is for the environment which we are passing through. Now the equipment. The standard road and marine transport uses what? Either trailers or containers, things like this, 40-foot, 20-foot, high cube, open, whatever it is. But you cannot ship those into the standard air cargo. The shape of the airplane makes the losing, even if you could put a 20-foot or a 40-foot container in an airplane, you would be losing a lot of space around it because it's not a rectangular thing. The shape is spherical. Therefore, this is one of the problems it faces us when we ship things like this into airplanes. If we want to ship it as cargo in pallets, yes, you can. But the handling of that thing is terribly expensive. Therefore, this is in regards of the shape which requires us to have some kind of standardization when we ship by air. Let's talk about management. Now, the severe things which could happen to the product is if the airplane gets delayed for 6 or 8 hours for any problem, or it lands in emergency, and you don't expect every airport to have a ready hookup or ready cold stores, because if it is a small airport or it is a poor country, they don't have this facility. You are lucky here in Dubai, you have a huge airport, international airport, and when the goods come frozen or chilled, they will find a place to put their product inside it, even if you don't clear it the same day or the next day. But there are a lot of countries where you land, and the airplane lands in there, or even a ship when we talk about the ship. And your product, you cannot view to any region, you cannot clear it the same moment. What happens with your product? If it is, especially if it is a frozen or steaks or something like this, you start facing problems. I remember cases in Saudi Arabia, but it's not, I don't want to talk about food because it's much more sensitive, but I ordered some HEPA filters for surgery rooms, high intensive care units and heart surgery rooms, HEPA filters from the US to be fitted in those rooms. And those, they are manufactured in a place where it is itself filtered by HEPA filters. The people are controlled also because those filters are supposed to catch any germs or anything. When you have an open heart surgery or an intensive care unit, you don't need contamination to come into the room. So it is completely lab inspected, 100% ready. So we want to take it straight and put it in the right place without opening the covering, the packing for it. Otherwise it will be contaminated. It arrives at a place, and here you have to pass through the regulators. You have to go through customs. You cannot exceed that, because it's a different ministry and you have to obey them. They said, what is this? He said, we have filters, please don't open it. He said, I will have to open it. But this will be destroyed. He said, it's not my business. I am here to protect the country against smuggling or bringing anything illegal, and I have to open the filter. I don't know what is the filter. And he brings a knife, and he opens everything. Once he looked at it, yes, it's a filter, and he brought a piece of tape, plug and said, take your filter. He destroyed the filter, so you cannot put it in a surgery room. This is what you can find also in food. One of my relatives, he is in the chocolate business, and he brought almost half a ton of chocolate from another country, and it landed in Riyadh, and the man did not come, the cleaning person didn't come the same day, and he spoiled all the chocolate. They have no facility for refrigeration. This is what you need to think of. Therefore, the standardization which we are talking about is very important now. When we land, we must make sure that we either the equipment which we use to transport our equipment, I'm talking about any container, it has to have either the facility to plug in any available source, and it has its own air conditioning equipment, refrigeration equipment, so you do not lose the contents of your product, or you do have a facility right in the airport in case you cannot clear your goods at the same day. You can just simply plug it in or put it in the cold store, and you pay for the delays. So this is the kind of thing which we will be facing when we are transporting by air. Transporting by road is a similar issue, but even worse, because the people at the airport, at least they are more educated and civilized than the people on the borders of the country. When you are crossing, at least in the Middle East, you're crossing one country to the other through a border on land, you face terrible things. So this is one of the other things. A truck could stay 3-4 days on the road, on the border. What will happen with it if it doesn't have refrigeration? You spoil your food. Therefore, a lot of these countries now, I know at least for Saudi Arabia, we have a huge cold stores on the borders, and they rent it for you in case you are delayed. But still, the bureaucracy of checking the things is there, and it has to be, and we respect it simply because they care about security of the country, which is not our business, but it is also vital. So they have to make sure that they are doing their job. This is the thing which every one of you involved in the food industry need to be thinking of. How we are going to overcome those things. Now, what about if something goes wrong with the refrigeration equipment? We talk about these trucks which is refrigerated in the morning and standards, fine, everything is okay, but has anyone put a piece of equipment that is guaranteed that it will never fail while it is on the road? Has anyone thought that we will have a standby unit on the truck or trailer? And this is still, you are on land, you could be reached somewhere very easy, but how about a ship? A ship traveling 40 days or 30 days in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, and the equipment goes out of the road. For sure you have technicians, you have everything, spare parts, but those technicians are normally not trained very well, you may not have proper spare parts, and when you arrive, let us say, a station in the way, that ship is coming again, let's say from the US to here, and it passes through a port in Africa, where they don't have any kind of refrigerant. You have a leak in the refrigeration side. You want to buy refrigerant, you don't find it. You want even some tools to open some bolts or nuts, you cannot find it. So what do? This type of challenge is what we need to know. As consultants, we have to think of all those things. We never think of cost once we start talking about food refrigeration. At the very beginning, in the conceptual design, we think of the safety. And we think of how we can make sure that we minimize any unexpected events or some circumstances during the trip. Then once we guarantee that we have one or two or three alternatives, we start looking to enhance the cost and do it properly. But the first, we look for the durability, sustainability, and reliability of the equipment on board before we think of anything else. This is just the overall thing. Now the management, we said that someone may play with the equipment just a few hours before the arrival and he makes it at the right temperature, while during the full journey, he is playing with the product. So the only way to do it is a continuous recording and monitoring, even through satellites, whatever you want. And everything is available these days to make sure that you monitor and plug in the system, make sure that the temperatures are maintained, and not only the temperatures, the relative humidity, the condition, and sometimes the air filtration is maintained properly all the way through the journey. And if you don't have anything like this, you simply put data numbers. If you don't want to pay for a proper management system, plug in data numbers into the system, which will log your things for a month or two, and you just pull it and put it into your computer and see how true the statement was. This is just an introduction before we go into the details. And I'd like to share with you some of the standard terms which are used into this industry. Now here we say that the gradations, we spoke about it, and the airplane, we said from 0 to below 0, and all this we spoke about it very sure. Now on arrival also, we do not know, so we need facilities at the place, as we said. Design conditions, we have to try to design our things to the worst possible case and work backwards towards the best possible attainable price. But do not gamble with the price against the quality. This is what a proper consulting engineer or design engineer should do. The size and the shape in the airplane is totally different. This is what we said, we have to pre-cool before and put some eyes. Now, in land transport, it's not only, what we care about is not only to make sure that the truck has maintained the right temperature and the right relative humidity and condition. I want to make sure that when it lands at my place, it doesn't get spoiled on arrival. So assuming that I have, this is a cold store, and these are accessories to the cold store, which is very important. You must have what we call a dock leveler. That one is a dock leveler. What is a dock leveler? The trailers in the web, they will never be exactly 100% the same height. But there are two different levels. One is American standard and one is the European style. And there is about a 10 or 20, less than 20 centimeters difference in height. So I don't know which side of the trailer is going to come to my place. When it just lands and park against the cold store, I want to make sure that my forklift can go easily inside. And because sometimes the height of the trailer goes up and down with a little variation, I need to have the dock leveler. The dock leveler, as you can see, it is a mechanical mechanism that has a lip that goes up and down to make sure that my forklift can go through the store into the trailer and from the trailer into the store easily. So this is a dock limit. A dock shelter is the one that you can see around. The shelter could be of this single type or it could be an inflated type. When the trailer parks, it hits a switch and it inflates, then it hugs the trailer. When it hugs the trailer, before we open the container, which is very cold, we know that when it hugs the trailer, there will be no hot air coming in and no cold air going outside from the place. Otherwise, we will have condensation, we'll have problems, and we will destroy the process. So this is what we call a shelter. So this is a dock leveler, that is a dock shelter. Then the other thing you see, these small things, steel pipes, these are just a protection, so when more than one trailer is there, they don't hit each other. So they go straight, because especially with the fact they go backwards. And these are the things. There is also a bumper where when you hit, you don't destroy the building. There are a few similar things but not related to your refrigeration side. The refrigeration issue is that a dock leveler or a dock shelter are the minimum required to make sure that when the trailer comes at my cold store, whether it is going to unload or load things in it, that it is totally separated from the atmosphere around. Okay, these are some of the terms which is used. Small trucks for short distances that we use within the same city. If you want to bring, let us say Carrefour wants to bring some chilled or frozen products from a whole hub or their main warehouse, which is in the same town. When we travel within the same town, we do small trucks, which doesn't need forklifts, doesn't need dock leveler, because the boys handle it by hand. Bigger trucks for long distances we use it. The dimensions also on weights. You know that you have limited weights and limited dimensions on the road. Otherwise, you are not allowed to drive on the road. So this is also, those things are international and the same heights, same width you use here, it is all over the world. The ones which is used by railroad, and you can see they call it piggyback, which is the railroad flat car, a TOF trailer on a flat car. We have roll on, roll off. Those things, these, when you take a copy of this one, you would read it at your ease. It's not the aim to go through it one by one now, because these are international terms that you need to take into consideration when you start thinking of a cold store and the transportation of the goods. Insulation, for sure we need to about insulation. Air circulation, my friend from Carrier had covered all those things, so there is no need to talk about it. The marine refrigeration, we said what are the problems we face, but what are the types of ships we have other than the fishing ships. We forget the fishing ships because it has a separate presentation. The cargo refrigeration ships or the ship's refrigerated stores. When you travel in a ship, the ship would be only for cargo, and the design of the refrigeration system and the cold store on board is totally different from a ship that is designed for passengers and cargo. So we have passengers and cargo, and we have cargo alone. We need to talk about those, everyone alone. The design is totally different. When you have a huge ship like the ones you probably see in the TV, some of those ships could handle a few thousand people. Few thousand people means a huge district like the Marina area, the Dubai Marina. You have a huge facilities over here, which needs proper cold stores, proper refrigeration. It needs a hub, which means a whole sail, big cold store, and it needs outlets. So everything there as if you are in this place. What do? Wherever you have passengers, you cannot make a cold store on the ship wherever the passengers are, because they like in the evening when the weather is good to go on the deck, have nice dinner, dance, have fun. So you cannot have your cold store there. But you need also the same products that they need daily, you need it in that place because the ship will be very huge. So we have two types of cold stores or chilling facilities on board of those ships, the passengers. We have the main ones which is carrying the bulk or transporting the goods to another country. And we have the daily needs of refrigeration and food on board with the passengers area. Because they need bread every minute. The restaurants need food, they want to cook, they need rice, they need meat, vegetables, they need ice cream, they need ice, everything. So those things, they have to be near the passengers. So they normally put them with a corridor in the middle, and they are on the sides with the passengers, these facilities around the restaurants. These are the day-to-day requirements of the passengers. The other one, they have a completely separate facility which is either down or up, and totally different from the place where the passengers are. The design is totally different. Built-in, these are about the refrigerators. Now when you are on board, you could have either what we call a multi-stage system or a multi-purpose system. You cannot build a very expensive ship and say I cannot ship except frozen products, or I can only ship chilled. You have to make sure that your ship can handle frozen, chilled, canned, normal products, products that need only ventilation, and make sure that your system will go with all those requirements as and when you need it. So this is regarding the ships. But they will never have freezing facility. They will have holding freezers on top of them. The freezing facilities are for the ships. We said the refrigeration system, refrigerant and safety and availability of refrigerants and oil at board of destination. We make sure that you may have to pass through a country that is a poor country, does not have proper facilities. So make sure that similar refrigerants well known all over the world, oils are available. Make sure that you have either a centrifugal or screw compressors in case you have a huge installation, otherwise you go to the standard one. Avoid parallel operation due to motion causing oil level problems. Do you know what we mean by parallel operation? When you have like the 5-6 compressors together, like the rack system we have, they are at the same level of temperature they were, and if you put them on a bed, they have to be 100% level because they have common suction line. And the common suction line means that your refrigerant goes to your equipment, oil and gas at the same level. If anyone is below the other, one will be flooded with oil and the other will be what we call very low oil, or it's just like thirsty, hungry for oil. It doesn't have enough oil in it because most of the oil go by gravity to the lower. So this one, because the ship in the sea is subjected to vibration, that will cause you a lot of problems. Therefore, never choose parallel system when you are on installing refrigeration equipment on a ship. You always use your separate systems. Avoid compressors intermittent operation due to ship power sensitivity. The power of the ship also is not like the land power. So in order for you, and because the refrigeration equipment takes big part of the power generated, if you have on-off your equipment going on-off on the machine, it will affect the ship. Therefore, try to avoid any intermittent power operation. you have to have 100% standby. This is mostly recommended. Use seawater condensers and dry coolers because you are passing through the sea and you have the water over there. You pay the initial cost, little bit higher than what you do on land, but you make sure that everything after that is very cheap for you. You suck from the sea and deliver to the sea straight away your condenser. Sometimes we even use the seawater for our coolers, although it is salty, because the freezing temperature of the salty water is much lower and we can utilize it with a better temperature inside the cold room. Marine, we spoke about this in quick in the morning, just before we started looking at those. Potato and onions, we spoke about it. Flour and cereals, also they need only ventilation. We spoke about this. Ship refrigeration design, marine method of refrigeration, and that's it. This is for just an introduction. I'm sure that this is not of big interest to all of you because you are assumed to be on the inside of the...
Mr. Gallup, I have a question.
Yes.
On marine refrigeration.
Yes.
Suppose I'm a shipper and I'm away.
Just a minute. Yes. I'm looking here.
Suppose I bought some meat from Argentina and it is to be transported by ship from Argentina to Dubai. And I put it on a vessel in a refrigerated container. And board, we saw those containers, those are refrigerated. Something happens to the refrigeration system and the meat is spoiled. Now, whose responsibility? Of course, I insure the cargo, but is it the responsibility of the ship, or is it? I'm just trying to understand.
Yes, it's very simple. Yes, it's very clear. These things are very, very easy these days, simply because neither you nor the shipper, neither you nor the owner of the ship will ship the goods without having an insurance policy. Now, you insure your goods, he insures his goods, the insurance company decides whom to blame. Most of the case, you are out of it. You are 100%, you get your money. But what will happen between the insurance company and the shipper, we have two issues. Either he has to pay because he is responsible for his ship, or there is a force majeure. A force majeure is a force majeure. Now, it is between them to define the force majeure issue, but it doesn't apply to you. That is for sure. You are the owner of the goods within the container, and you even do it. And you know that when we ship according to the Incoterms, and you have the terms used, and you know that we have foam, factory, footboard, fast, CIF, C&F, all those things, DDB, DDU. For you, the best way for you to do it is to make it CIF or DDB if you want to make sure that you have nothing to do with the customer. But the people whom you buy the goods from, this is another story, most of the time they refuse to give you a CIF or DDB unless they have presentation in your country. Simply because if you have a problem with them and they have to fight against it, they have to send people from their country to a country they don't know, neither their laws nor the people, and they have been a losing case. So they will never give you except fob board, or some of them even say fast, because they don't guarantee when the ship is going to leave. Therefore, those terms are very important that people who deal with this thing, they must know those things. What do we mean by fast? We mean by fob factory, X-Wedge, and all those things. But for you, Dubai is not a problem. Everyone has a representation office here. But still, the foreigners, the shippers, do not accept to give you a DDP unless you make a contract with someone who has an office again here, because he doesn't know the country. Why he should get involved in deliver the duty paid. And deliver the duty paid gives you a 30 days insurance free of charge while the goods are already delivered and stored in your store as part of the international standards. So you get 30 days extra while he pays for it. He doesn't have a claim to unload it at all. There are no small things, but definitely you are protected. Yes, sir.
Yeah, as for marine systems, do you think that using cover-to-cover condensers, air-cooled condensers, is less headache than water-cooled condenser? I know it's a challenge you where pump is involved and when they're inside the condenser.
General question or on the...
No, general question.
General. Do you think which is ultimately then we have to define what do you mean by oil better? Is it the for me, if you want my opinion, the better is the one which is lowest on cost on full life cycle. You see a full life cycle of your equipment. If it is commercial, you probably it is a 10-year or 5-year life cycle. I don't know, but if it is industrial, 20 years. Now, when you go to air-cooled condensers, definitely the initial cost is different and cheaper from a water cool. Now, you don't have any water to use. If you have a country with a lot of water, then you definitely are making a mistake. You should go water cool. In a place like this, Dubai, they don't have water to drink. So you better go air cool. Now, when we say air cool, then you have a problem with the power generation. You have to consume a lot of water. But doesn't mean that the water cool is cheaper in running cost. And this is why I really want to confront a lot of people in the morning. They were saying water cool is better. You have to say water cool is better under the following conditions. Air cool is better under the following conditions. But you cannot have a flat. Simply because when you say water cool, what is the cost of the water? Energy, when you have to remove it, you have to remove it anyway, whether it is water cooled or air cooled. Now, you kick it out by using water in a place, let us say, in Egypt or on the Nile. You don't need a cooling tower in the first place. You just need a filtration system, boil the water, and throw it again in the Nile. So you have, this is the cheapest way. You are in a country which has a lot of water, but it does not have a river. It's a well water, or you are not allowed, you are too far from the river. You need a cooling tower. This is still cheap, because the water is available free. When you come to a country like any of the GCC countries, we are seeking to use TSC, treated sewage effluent, if it is available. But it costs you a lot of money to make a water treatment plant and get you water.
Okay, but in marine applications, let's say for an ice machine.
Marine.
Cover-to-cover condensers.
No matter what you do, the even cover-to-cover is suspected to have problems in the water because you are not on the coast. In places like this, on the land, cover-to-cover is good.
Even with coating?
Coating replaces cover-to-cover. Cover to aluminium films. When you coat it becomes as good as or a little bit lower as cover-to-cover. But you don't do cover-to-cover and still do coating. This is a double job. Even if you do it and you are on the coast, on the land side, it is a good application. When you talk about traveling through high seas and oceans, and I wanted now to talk about fishing industry. You know the fish, how long it stays sometimes? 6 to 9 months, and some ships stay 1 year, and they have hundreds of people on it. You have 2, 3, 4, 5,000 tons of fish on it. So you don't travel alone. You travel like many ships together. They have a special name, they call it signers. When you go there, you have a factory to process the ship, the tuna. You have freezers, you have holding freezers, you have chillers, you have everything, and you have very hot areas or tropical areas in the sea, or you are catching it from cold areas. what you are hunting. The good tuna is in the tropical areas. Some of the tuna fish is 60, 70 kilograms. So they go to those places. Sometimes they stay 6, 9 months. So this is totally different aspect. When you talk about the ships, it's very dangerous. And you can imagine also what happens with your air-cooled condensers when it starts the ship dancing, if you have a lot of high tide or whatever it is, a lot of waves and very bad weather, you could see. And there are areas in the sea that is very salty. We maintain it when we come now to talk about that, and since we are there to talk about it. We don't freeze water to chill our fish. We freeze seawater and we even add salt to it. And we can have a freezing temperature of -13, -15 degrees centigrade of the water till it freezes if you add some salt on it. And that will be a good way of doing the freezing rather than using the standard refrigeration system. There are a lot of ways now in this, but on the ship, I do not recommend that you do any air-cooled because it's just simply very harsh water. Salt and a lot of chemicals and just unexpected weather. One day you are in very good place, 2 months later you are on the middle of nowhere, very hot. It's really very dangerous. Anyway, the fishing industry, it is only a very small one, just to conclude, inshallah. Okay, this is just a simple introduction that regardless whether you have a small boat fishing across your home in the sea, you need ice or you need refrigeration. Or if you have a 2,000-ton fish, you still need refrigeration some way or the other. Therefore, we cannot have any fishing industry without ice. But the size of the refrigeration business depends on the size of the ship and how many tons we can even make by catch. We spoke about the refrigeration system basic facts and requirements. Whoever needs details, he will find it. Refrigeration system design basic principles. We spoke about it where you are going to work. Refrigeration with ice, with seawater. You see, just to give you some examples. Industrial fish, okay, and the ones like the salmon, that salt penetration is not a problem for it. You see water is cool, circulated or sprayed, then returned from the bottom of insulated tanks. Around 1 kilowatt of refrigeration cools 500 kilograms of fish. Okay? If they are small, while it goes up to 1.5 ton in large fishing vessels. So you could see 1.5 ton is 5 kilowatt, correct? So the 500, 5 times. If you are the big fish, means 5 times the refrigeration capacity. Distant fishing, which is 3 to 9 months voyage, usually use freezing facility on board. Now we come to other small items that you may need if you are interested in designing fishing ships. 3 main factors distinguish the tuna fishery. This is the tuna from almost other. The big horn that may be made at any one time, the great size of the tuna which can go up to somewhere else, it's about 67, we will come to it down. Okay, and the high temperature of landed tropical tunas. These must be taken into consideration when you design your refrigeration system. But you don't design a ship only to do fishing in the tropical area. You design a fishing ship to travel for a certain period of time and to be able to hold a certain tonnage of fish. Therefore, you make your model for moderate area, for good weather in the north and for the tropical area, and see which one has a problem more than the other, and you protect your ship refrigeration system designed to meet all three of them. Even because no matter what you talk about the cost, it's nothing compared to only one trip for the fish. You could, even if it is 1,000 tons, we don't want to say 2, 3, 4,000 tons. You have 1 million kilogram of fish on the ship, which is 1,000 tons, a small ship though. This is very small, they call it, from the big ones. How much this will cost you if you make two different refrigeration systems? One is the best and one is moderate. The difference will be how much? $500,000, not dirham or something over $250,000. I pay because it's not a joke. You will lose a lot of money if you start playing with the refrigeration system quality when you talk about such big installations. And yes, the tuna fish weight ranges between 2 to 60 kilogram at an average, temperature of 32 degrees centigrade. Now, the tanks are insulated carefully. You could go down to -7 on the standard seawater and chill the tuna down to -1 in 24 hours to 72 hours. By the way, the last one here, when you have a factory on either on land or part of your, let us say, fleet, then you must make sure that the tuna does not arrive at the factory, at the processing factory, frozen. You will have a lot of problems because it has to be melted or thawed, like what we call it, before it lands on the belt that goes into the processing line in the factory. Therefore, you need to start melting it at least 48 to 72 hours before arrival. Because once it is solid, and because we are using salt, it takes a lot of time to melt. And therefore, make sure that your factory doesn't stop, because these factories, when they start, it means they start and finish. And just simply, they call another ship, it takes what they have already produced as ready tuna bagged and to be sold, and just load it and it goes. And the other ship stay on with the factory, stay with the other ships for another month or two until they complete almost 1 year or 9 months there. And you could imagine how much money they have, how much food themselves they want, and water. They want to survive 9 months in the sea. They have desalination plants on those. And some people marry and get children while they are still there. So, yes, and it's not a joke, it's a real life. And these are the freezer closers and factory visits, which I said, and the mothership where they live. And they have around it the other ships. As we said, they have fuel, which is the petrol, they have hospitals, they have everything, the complete life, including freezers and factories. And this is how they do this business. In the first line, in the China, you have -13 degrees. If you have only 50 kilogram of salt, 50 kilogram only of salt, there, a ton of tuna, in the seawater, you can freeze it at -13 degrees centigrade. So you look how cheap you could make your refrigeration system, rather than just making pure ice and making it dry to that temperature. This is much better. I just tried to give you an idea. I'm sure this is just like what they say, it's the sweet after the dinner, because this is the last thing we are going to talk about. Thank you very much. And just for fun and information, those things. If you need any further information, please let me know. And I am willing to send you any data you require. Thank you, and I hope to see you in another seminar.
Before we conclude, we'd like to hear from you if you wish to say something about the presentations, and because this gives us an opportunity to improve and do things better the next time. And also, if we have any recommendations related to food safety and refrigeration, you could do so. You could use this platform to address again if you wish to, and it's open to you. Anyone of you, if you wish to come and make a brief speech. I gather everyone's tired and ready to go home. And if you could just give me a minute, because I think we ended this session a bit early. I'm going to ask my colleague to come in. Deep, please call Frederick. He wants to make a presentation, and we'll end with that. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to basically say a big thank you, reiterate our warmest thanks to all of you for coming to this inaugural event. From several places, I can say from the GCC, further afield even. So we'd like again to thank our sponsors, Carrier, Transico, Danfoss, ITT, and Emerson, for making this event possible. We do look forward to seeing you at our next event. We are seriously considering taking it on the road, maybe further afield in GCC, Saudi Arabia or Qatar. So we do also welcome your comments, your thoughts. Do not hesitate to contact us, email us, call us if you think of any improvements or suggestions or comments as to how we could improve the format of the event. I think the level of discussion so far has been enjoyed by all our delegates, and that is one of the things that we make sure of. So thank you all again to you for coming and making it possible. We are also looking to host for the first time the Climate Control Awards later on in the year, so I'm sure that we'll have categories dedicated to the refrigeration industry, rewarding the best practices, the best initiatives, the best products in the region. So please do watch out for that. You'll all be obviously in our database, so we will keep you informed of our activities, either through the magazine as well, or through email shots or regular contacts. So thank you again to all of you, and do have a very good trip back to your homes. Thank you very much indeed.